Sexy Pig Divas. And you're listening to Nursery,
a podcast from Ohio's
creative
voice.
I notice things and they make me laugh, and then I usually store them in the back of my head somewhere, and then they end up on the stage.
I think that there was a point in time where rap was pretty much non-existent in Ohio.
I actually grew up listening to pop music.
It's the coolest thing in the entire universe.
I love Ohio. I miss it.
Mm-hmm. Stomach started growling, and he started slowing the way he was walking and taking smaller strides, and you could tell something was definitely not right.
All my stuff has literary elements to it.
We've gotten to such a phase where people can just say they're an artist.
Wading through a sea of drunks, trying to do the best he can for the band.
Being in a room full of all your best friends, even if you don't know anybody, because you can sing and dance together and just have a really good time.
If you don't know, you don't need to know, man.
Would you like to do a podcast?
Like Gary or the guy of the river.
You always gotta make a dip to something, don't you? Can't just hang out.
People complain that there's nothing to do here, but there is. You just have to go for it.
It's cold in this neck of Ohio tonight, and the style is right for a sad winter song. I feel lost like a speck in a pile out of sight, and though I try with all might, I just don't feel that strong. As we walk through a field trekking on snowy dirt, my eyes start to hurt trying to see a smile, and we talk about fears making our story short. You are scared to get shot, your bravery goes for miles, and there's more miles to go as we walk the train tracks. I think we lost the rain back in the woods we just hiked, and the store signs can glow as you walk sidewalk cracks. I think we lost the town back trading street lamps for kites. The nursery and all of the trees crossed over the dark, and some old parking lots hold my whimpering thoughts, and I'm on the next train. You and me, can't you see what this means? In the light of a torch, realize nothing is forced, nothing is forced.
Just pretend it's not here. No, let's just do it here. This is better. Okay, hi everybody.
This is Dr. Lee Boyle.
This is Dr. Lee Boyle. I'm listening. My name's Lee. You're listening to Nursery Podcast. Listeners, if this is your first episode, I implore you, please go to thirdclass.net or bullskit.com and check out the backlog. There's a gazillion episodes. They're all ridiculous.
Do you want to just do that over?
No, dude, we're in now. This is what it's supposed to be. This is candor at its best or worst.
Is this why I don't listen to podcasts?
You're not going to even listen to this one. So my name's Lee. I'm in Columbiana, Ohio at a place called Generations Coffee, and this is my friend Michael. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. Thank you for asking.
Oh, of course. So we're just hanging out here today, and we actually just got on this topic that I think listeners might enjoy, because I have been known with a couple friends to do sitcom commentaries on this podcast, which I know that you guys at home aren't pressing play and
what
listening along.
Have you talked about?
We've done, let me tell you, because you know most of these. We did the episode the Merv Griffin show of Seinfeld. I don't know if you remember it from the last season. It's the one where they try to play with all those vintage toys and feed wine to the lady. And then we did The Office, the dinner party episode.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, we did Friends, the one where no one's ready. I don't know if you remember that one. That's
one's
where
ready?
Yeah, it's called The One Where No One's Ready, and Ross is trying to get to like his paleontology like speech
I watched
benefit.
through the entire series, but I'm trying
This
to
is
think
one
of
where
which that is.
like Phoebe, it's like Rachel is taking a long time getting ready, and he's mad at all his friends for not getting ready, and then like Phoebe spills hummus on her dress or something, and Ross is like, "What gets out hummus? What gets out hummus?" And Chandler wears all of Joey's clothes, or vice versa. Joey wears all Chandler's clothes. It's kind of hard to.
Most of those I only
It's a
watched
bottle
in the
episode,
90s.
right? Yeah, it's memorable if you go back
You should
now.
uncork it.
Yeah, check that one out. You can watch that one isolated and you'll enjoy it. And then one other one we did was called Last X to Brooklyn. That's Will and Grace episode, season 2 of 6, I believe. So we tend to lean towards bottle episodes. Actually, that brings me to, so listeners, Michael and I off mic, we're talking about Frasier, great sitcom, and Cheers. We both
Do
really
they have
love
a bottle
those.
episode?
Frasier, you know what? I think they do, but I think it's the last episode of season 1 in the coffee shop, right? Isn't that more or less a bottle episode where they hang out? Are you happy, Frasier? Isn't that like a bottle episode?
I know the entire first season of Cheers is a bottle episode.
Cheers entirely, aside from a couple. Yeah, that's why Cheers is awesome.
Well, in the second season they do, but in the first season they don't leave the bar.
Yeah. But that's what's the charm of Cheers. Like, the last episode you and I were talking about off mic, it's like it's awesome. Like, he straightens up that picture, and that's supposed to be a nod to.
What is that an homage to?
I guess it's an homage. This is just something I read. I wouldn't have known otherwise, but it's an homage to Coach.
Oh.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an homage.
Because he
to
always
Coach.
fixed him.
Yeah.
Every time he came in and onto the set.
So yeah, that's right. That's what it is. Yeah, you're right.
I remember reading
It'd been a while.
about that.
Yeah, it'd been a while. But that was a nice last episode. Whereas I tend to agree with critics and fans on the Seinfeld episode finale not being that great.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul, but not great.
Well, it was because they were rehashing a lot of things instead of doing something new.
And taking stuff out of the regular sets. It's like they worked with new settings and old ideas when they should have worked with old settings and new ideas to end an episode. Like Cheers did. That was nice.
It was also because they did something that expanded upon the normal universe of the show, because the whole show, the point was for it to be small. And I even remember reading about Jerry Seinfeld talking about that, or I've seen like the additional things where he was talking about basically they had to do something grand for the finale, and that's not what a lot of people were accustomed to. But that was the direction that the series was going in anyway.
Right.
It was getting more like comic book or more just like absurd.
Absolutely. Ever since that moment in somewhere midway through season, I'm going to say 4, 5, or 6, I think, when they do the race episode, Seinfeld, where the car backfires and they think the guy, I feel like from that point on it got, as you described, more comic booky. But what is it? Hey, let me ask you this: what draws you in specifically to Frasier? Like, what do you like about that show? As
opposed to Cheers, or just in general?
In general, like why is our generation? Why do we like that show or sitcoms like that? Particularly, what is it about Frasier that draws you in?
I mean, I think for one thing, it predated a lot of what we take for granted now.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of got into essentially what our culture is. It kind of swapped from what sitcoms used to be to being more of a commentary on, like, I don't know, even just sitting around in a coffee shop like we are now. Friends did that too.
Right.
Actually, I saw this thing on AV Club where they were taking grievance with all the times that they have empty coffee cups and how
Yeah,
and how that takes away
without the
well, yeah, because you could tell when people are like swinging the coffee cups around that there's nothing in there. So like,
I know.
you just have to suspend disbelief that people have full coffee cups. I could tell you right now. Here, wait, listen.
Yeah, that's got
There's
coffee.
coffee in there.
That's got coffee.
There's coffee.
That's right.
There's authenticity.
You got to
actual
be
coffee.
a really good actor to pretend like that thing's full. I don't care how good you are otherwise. Jason Alexander was good at that. He was good at making it look full. Because Seinfeld, they sat in coffee shops too. It used to be this, I know they didn't illustrate it exactly like this, but it kind of used to be this elitist thing where you would be on your phone in a coffee shop socializing with somebody. So they, like you kind of implied, Frasier set this precedent socially with like some of the settings of its comedic happenings.
Yeah, not even so much the settings, but what they dealt with, I guess. I'm trying to think of how to pose that. But it was a lot of what they handled in like current trends and
okay.
You know, just thinking
that makes sense. Yeah. So like you're saying that the fact that like what they it's not so much the physical setting, but it's like what their mindset was and what they like put importance on. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, they were definitely more. I keep going back to more artistically inclined in their approach to things. And that's obviously because of the sitcom writer's hand and everything and stuff. So they turned anybody, whether it was somebody who dealt with, psychology, somebody who dealt with comedy, which is easy, or somebody who was a server at Central Perk, they always turned them into an artist through the sitcom,
Yeah, it was more of a highbrow type of television too.
And they kind of had this interesting dance where they walked this line where they made people that were sometimes blue collar into highbrow people by accident, you know what I mean? Like they would take people and turn them highbrow that wouldn't have been in real life in any way.
Like Ross?
Yeah, I mean, paleontology, they kind of glamorized, even though they made fun of what a geek he was, they put, like, glamour even into his job, somehow,
Into whose job?
Ross. Because they only showed the fun parts.
You mean her job?
Huh?
I'm thinking of
Roz. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, Roz. Oh, you're saying...
I don't know enough about Friends that don't...
Well, I was about to say Roz because he's always dealing with, like, he's just holding a dinosaur bone. They never, like, get into, like, what he studies. But Roz, so you're just saying Roz was glamorous?
I mean, I just felt like she was, like, more involved.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then... I remember hearing that the last Seinfeld episode was filmed partially in Cleveland, Ohio.
Was it really?
Yeah, they went to Mama Santa's Pizza and ordered a bunch of pizza, and there's a picture there of them ordering all that pizza. But Cleveland, to transition smoothly, Cleveland, Ohio is a place where you sometimes end up attending concerts, shows and stuff. Can you name me, just for music fans, some of the best experiences you've had as far as shows go in Cleveland or Youngstown or anywhere around Ohio? Like, give me your 3 favorite concerts you've ever gone to in Ohio.
Well, one even that would stand out, and I would like to go back up just to see an ordinary concert there, would be the Cleveland Orchestra. I saw Randy Newman with the Cleveland Orchestra.
That sounds great.
And yeah, that was definitely one of the better times I've had. Because they even interjected, there would be just a normal set where he would alternate between playing with the orchestra or just playing solo on piano. And then they would take a break and he would come back and he would conduct the orchestra and do some of his soundtrack work.
Oh, that's pretty
Like, obviously, Toy Story.
Right.
And he even did the soundtrack for Maverick.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I don't think they did that at the actual concert. I'm trying to remember what they did.
Right.
But
There's
I
so
know
much
they
to
did some
choose
Toy
from.
Story.
Would they do otherwise of his own stuff? Of his more solo, outright stuff?
Political science. I mean, a lot of the bigger numbers.
That's cool.
For the most part.
I enjoy that he includes some of that soundtrack stuff solo on those songbook things he does.
Yeah, I like the songbook.
Yeah. He seems to
strip down,
not leave anything out. He just like picks and chooses, and it's nice. Avalon was on there or something. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, that'd be a great concert to attend. What year was that? Do you remember?
That was the end of 2011.
That'd be great. Okay, so that's a couple years past Harps and Angels. Yeah, that's great.
I'm pretty sure he did at least one song from Harps and Angels. I was partial to that one too. I like that one.
Yeah, it was good. It's funny that like touring even a few 3 years after the release that he still only just does like one song for me because he got such a huge catalog to choose from. Well, that's a good that's a great example. I'm sure I wasn't there myself, but sounds like a good show. What else did you like in way back in the past or recent as far as shows go?
Oh, what else has there been? I mean, I've been to so many shows.
Yeah, you've been to so many. I just feel like I have to ask because you have some good experience under your belt.
What have I even had recently? I mean, there's a lot of acts that I've seen countless times. Actually, I've seen your band, I think, more than any band in existence.
Yeah, really.
So, for
real, yeah.
I've seen Third Class.
Right.
How many times now? And like I always say, the first time was in a bait and tackle shop in East Palestine, or outside of
Negley,
Palestine.
Ohio.
Negley.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I loved that show, by the way. Was the zoo there?
Why did you love that one?
Oh, the zoo was there, right?
I think so.
I loved it because that was
before I had any knowledge of the existence of the zoo. I didn't know you either. That was just, I went there with Lynn Trinkelbaugh.
That's right. I recently got back in touch with her. The reason I loved that show was because it was my favorite zoo set ever performed. Yeah, like for whatever reason, I just loved. I mean, they were playing through this cruddy PA, and it was kind of just this weird show. But for whatever reason, the execution on that show, I was just like, oh my god, you guys knocked it out of the park. And it was this weird transitional moment for them where Rob Thorndike had recently become the guitarist. I'm thinking.
For context, when would that have been? Was that 2002 or 2001?
No, it was.
It was definitely while we were in high school, or at least while I was.
Yeah, maybe while you were. For me, I don't think it was because Gottner had just left.
Gottner was already out of the zoo?
Yeah. Unless we're thinking was the zoo there?
No, because
we're thinking of two different shows.
Yeah,
we're thinking of two different shows because that was later. You probably saw a zoo in a different forum.
He even told me, Brendan did, that he went to Hoboken with them.
Right.
When they briefly
We're talking about
there.
I think I'm referring to like a 2005 show or something, and you're talking about it 01 or 02. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you saw us was it the zoo or was it like Khaled like heading up a band with somebody else? It's like the zoo was in existence, but he did like a cover of Helter Skelter with a band. Does that sound familiar to you?
I have no clue.
There's 3 shows, so I'm confused. Lynn, if you were with Lynn, it was definitely 2001 or 2. Yeah, you're right about that.
It was a while.
Yeah. So
well, because at the time she was dating
Josh.
Okay.
So the Entities, that was a long time ago. The Entities, a punk band in East Palestine, definitely played. Then a band called.
The whole concept of a punk band from East Palestine makes me laugh.
Isn't it weird? Yeah.
Like, what are you rebelling against?
I know. East Palestine. And then, a band called the Van Blimps. There's a guy named Tim Smiley, Todd Staley, Josh Reddick was.
Oh yeah.
I think he drummed in.
I know. Yeah, she was good friends with Tim too. I knew Tim through Lynn also.
Right. And Tim's been on the podcast.
This is such an insular podcast.
It is,
right now.
but fortunately enough for long-time listeners, they'll know what we're talking about. But new listeners, long-time listeners, there's 70 episodes of this thing, and then
you have such faith in your audience.
I know, man, I do. But also. People who are just popping in there like, who's Michael? Who's Lee? What is this? Let me just give you just the littlest bit of context. Like, tiny town, Ohio, people that...
We're the last two. It's like population, you and me. Like, we're the only ones left alive.
Yeah. And so, yeah, man. You know what? That's all the context you need, guys. Little tiny town, USA, people that like music in it feel lonely. Area man feels lonely because he likes alternative rock music in small town. But anyways, okay, so you've been to a ton of shows and stuff like that.
What are some of your favorite local shows?
For me, that one, whatever I was describing was a good one, that 2005 zoo, because there was some interesting transition
That was the
happening.
first time I went to Cedars, too. The downtown Cedars, the original,
what year
was to see the zoo.
Okay.
That would have probably been
3 or 4?
No, it was later. It was after high school. I was at YSU.
Okay.
Youngstown State.
Okay.
Probably 2004. I think was the first time I went up.
That's cool, man. So, yeah, some of my favorite local shows. Let's see here. Serial Banter. You were at the shows. You're going to be at half these shows. Serial Banter at Grog Shop in 2011. There was nobody there. It was our like release for our 12 and 9 EP, and Serial Banter played. And I really like their set. They like kind of go off the rail with that setup with Molly and Joe. Mm-hmm. They went off the rails on purpose a lot. And I kind of, for whatever reason, the way that room was, even though there's like no one there, it was like kind of a sad state of affairs for like attendance. Well, they really knocked it out. I thought that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone.
Yeah, I mean,
would agree,
I think I've only seen them in Youngstown. I don't know if I've ever actually caught them in Cleveland, even though. Wait, are they still? They are still. There's a new member. Joseph's still there. There's a new member now, and I caught them in Kent. They're a trio now?
No, it's just two again. She's gone. Like, so it's like weird.
That would make sense.
Yeah, like Kent.
Because I know they're not together.
Right. So like it was weird because it was like him and a dude. I wish I knew his name. I apologize to Joseph if you're listening. Like I don't remember the other dude's name, but you guys were awesome together. I saw them at Stone Tavern, which was nice because hearing music like that in like a confined area.
I like Stone Tavern in Kent too. I know I've seen Lee.
You've seen me there.
I've seen you there.
We sound okay there, but I like the bands that usually sound too loud at places like Cedars in Youngstown sound great there because like their snare gets muffled by the
better
carpeting.
Context,
We've always been kind of we've always been kind of like a little bit quieter sometimes than other bands. Though we play loud, we've always had like dead sounding drum set and stuff that we never have that like big ring, and we never like have I got my bass rig and all that crap. No, I don't have anything against it. I'm just saying.
You reminded me. I wonder if there's. I mean, obviously there have been because there's bands like Red Wanting Blue and the Zoo that could probably draw a crowd.
Yeah.
Well, obviously Red Wanting
really
Blue
draw.
can.
Yeah.
They could really draw crowds in Cleveland, but a lot of smaller bands like you and Serial Banter. I know when I because I went to your Grog Shop show.
That's right.
And your Beachland show. I mean,
Beachland was okay. I think we drew 20.
Grog Shop was probably worse. Yeah.
Grog Shop was like we drew 2. But you know what's frustrating to me in all these scenarios, not those particular ones, but ones like it, is that we go to Columbus, we go to Cleveland, we go to Kent, and we'll sometimes be lucky enough to draw anywhere between 10 and 30 if we're having a good day. And a lot of some of the bands show up in particularly Columbus, and they have their friends living literally 2 blocks down, and they don't draw. They draw 1, and we draw like 20 when we're gone. And it's not because we're popular. It's not because we're Red Wanting Blue. It's because we worked really, really hard to get that person there, and then it's like then the local band is like, oh, this is a real bunk gig, man. This is not going to be anything. So then they self-fulfill the prophecy and make the show not cool. Like that's what's weird about it, is that like we really
You
try.
think that's the key to succeeding, like outside of town? I mean, not like that's like a banking success.
It's not like I'm not saying like if you think 1,000 people were coming, they will come. But I do think that like they had decided very early on the show was going to suck and made it suck more because of it when they could have turned it into a nice little gathering. So like I do, and I'm not complaining about anyone in particular, but I do think that small bands our size shoot themselves in the foot by acting like they're even smaller. You know what I mean? Like, and so you've seen that firsthand.
I mean, Cleveland in general, I know they have some issues drawing crowds sometimes.
It's hard.
At least anymore.
We've had some good and some bad.
Because it used to be like a rock capital, obviously, and bands would make it a point to stop in Cleveland.
Absolutely.
Especially because it's an in-between point of Chicago and New York,
Absolutely,
so it's a nice place to hit.
Akron used to be the Lime Spiders and that kind of thing. And so, no, I mean, I don't want to put all the blame just on the bands, but it's an interesting scenario when you know the show's going to be small and then you elect to make it really small by like not caring. Don't do that, be like Mike. Be like Michael
me.
and like
go out of your way to
attend
go to
anyways.
shows.
Yeah, no, but you're also obviously an extreme example because you care a lot, and that's why I wanted you on here, because you care about music.
I go to shows. I buy records.
He buys records. He goes to shows. He's the exemplary fan in a certain regard. But yeah, I mean, my take is don't act like it's gonna suck that bad. Are you really gonna make it suck? That's when I'm talking to bands mostly.
What are some of your favorite venues?
I'm
reversing the interview.
Yeah, that's fine. That's great. We'll get more out of it that way if we make it a two-way street. Beachland Tavern I loved.
I do
really
go
liked
both
it.
ways, so.
Yeah. Beachland Tavern was amazing. I loved it. I really enjoyed Treehouse in Columbus. Loved that place.
I've never been there.
Yeah. I was there when the tree was still in it. There's a tree growing up through the floor, through the ceiling.
I thought that was going to be a joke.
No, there's a tree.
Not.
There's a tree. And people were like, it's weird because it's right in the way of the band. But I liked it. And we met some bands we really loved there, so maybe that was part of it. And then Columbus.
Columbus has a lot of cramped venues.
Yeah, which I like. Those are my favorites.
I mean, unless they do actually draw a big crowd, and then it becomes an obstacle because only say 20 people up front can see, and everyone else is.
It's weird. You're right.
Jockeying for position.
Columbus is such a place that so many Youngstowners who then tell their friends and tell their friends move to, that we've been lucky enough to always have at least an okay draw every time we went there. I don't think Columbus locals know our name, but we're just lucky enough to have Youngstowners spread the word.
I'm sure it depends on the bill that you're on too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who else is?
But I mean, even when we've kind of been semi-headliners in Hilliard, Ohio, and then out of town into Lima, it's always been
people go there.
Okay.
People live there
in Hilliard. In Lima? Yeah, no. Lima was weird. There were people.
I'm pretty sure there are no listeners right now from Hilliard or Lima.
There might be 2, but they're because we played that one show there, and I don't know if you guys are listening.
No.
You guys are not listening.
If you are listening, just shut it off.
Shut it off right now. You already have. But yeah. Katamu Coffee in Hilliard, Ohio, I had a great time at. It was just a very okay draw, but they were awesome people. Treehouse Columbus. Goodbye Blue Monday in Brooklyn was great. It was very cramped, and I was in a bad mood when we loaded in because there was just something little. They were like, we have a drum set already set up after we loaded in. I was like, why didn't you tell me that? It was something silly.
What's the worst experience you've had then?
Worst experience? Yeah, good question. One time we showed up in Butler, PA.
Well, obviously that's going to be a bad experience.
I don't have to say anything else.
Butler, PA.
Yeah. I don't have to say anything else. And we to play a house show, and it was raining, and there were a bunch of people slipping, sliding, and they were like, can't play, man. I just turned around and went home. One of the only times that we didn't go through with the show.
Was it like a hippie show?
Kind of punkish, hippie, something like that. Actually, I didn't catch any of the acts, so I couldn't tell you, because everybody was just slipping, sliding by the time we got there. It
sounds like something they do at Royal Oaks in Youngstown.
Yeah. I did one slip and slide in the rain and got back in my car and drove home. I guess I don't have.
So you did partake?
Yeah, I did partake slightly.
It actually sounds like a good show.
Actually, you know what? Yeah,
You're like, now that I think about it,
it was the best show.
One of our favorite shows.
We sounded great at it. We had one in Indianapolis, a place where the venue seemed to really drop the ball, and I don't like blaming them because I know we gotta pull our own weight, but they seemed to really not care, and I didn't really like it. It was the start to a tour in 2013, so it was just a bad way to start. It was like, usually you want to be like, oh, let's play somewhere we know is okay to get our spirit up, and that was like, oh, we just played to 3 people and we gotta keep going. But I have to say the rest of the tour was better in comparison, so maybe it was the right way to go.
Could have been.
You know what I mean?
Could very well have been.
And then one that should have been bad, but then turned out okay, is a place called Ugly Mug Coffee in Portland, Oregon. I walked in there and I was like, hey guys, I'm playing. And they were like, aren't you supposed to be here on Sunday? And I was like, no, I said Friday. And it was that kind of thing. But then they were accommodating enough to just be like, you know what, go ahead and just play a short set. And I was like, thank you, because I'm not going to be here on Sunday. It was a short trip that I had, figured out ahead of time. So
did the coffee shop gigs go over pretty well? When you play cafes and coffee shops?
I did a lot of that last year. We did collectively 50 shows, probably 20-some solo, 20-some full band last year.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of stuff that I couldn't do if we were lugging a drum set around, where I went and played at Scribbles Coffee in Canada.
I'm sure it's easy.
Yeah. Scribbles Coffee was nice. They were
Why doesn't Jack do a solo show? Or it's just Jack on drums
and drum only. Yeah. And they just do their harmony parts really isolated. But yeah, that's kind of fun because we're at a place as such where we write a lot of like slower love songs these days, so I can go out and kind of present the songs under a new light and still maybe not lose a whole lot of traction off them. Although full band's way more fun.
This is turning into that Jeff Mangum live at Jittery Joe's where there's just that crying baby like throughout, like just persistent.
Yeah. I love how you love me. That's
Phil
all.
Spector.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of, yesterday was the Pet Sounds reissue.
Yeah, dude. Hey, yeah. You
want to talk about
let's
Beach
talk
Boys?
about that. Yeah.
Sure, let's talk about Beach Boys.
So Pet Sounds.
Even though you know, like, I don't know, 70% more than I do.
That's one of the only bands I know more about than you. You shared with me this really great thing that was Pet Sounds in its original format, I want to say. Is that how you put it?
It's a modified form of that. It was a release that took the original masters and kind of like tweaked it slightly. I mean, just so it does have a little bit better treble and a little bit better bass, so it has a wider range overall. But it's not so confined as a lot of the just original mono mixes. It's a nice blend.
Right.
And it works well, played loud on speakers.
Yes, and I did try that after I talked to you. I took it home and cranked it up live. No headphones, just speakers. Cranked it. And what I noticed, I don't have that great of an ear where I could be like, this is that version, blindfolded. But I noticed it was like super mono to me. Super mono. Like,
it's definitely, it's mono without being actually mono.
It sounded very much
the
most put together, the most like grouped together sound I've ever heard.
But the vocals are perfect on it. And
great.
They're not near as harsh. That's one thing I never realized because for the longest time I had the just basic stereo CD, one of those versions of it.
Yeah.
And the vocals are just
totally
really
separated.
over-mixed and harsh.
And they're louder sometimes. They seem like a little too loud.
Because it participates in the loudness war, that whole thing. So.
What do you think? Is it super mono?
Can you make a cat noise?
This is a baby right now. We're waiting.
I'm waiting on comment
Waiting for the baby
from
participation.
our youngest niece. Super mono?
Super mono. Super mono.
She's just staring at the microphone. Super mono, yes?
Her eyes are super blue.
Uncle Lee. Mommy just went to the bathroom. She'll be right back.
My favorite track is, I think it's called Put Your Head on My Shoulder.
Don't talk, put your head on my shoulder.
That's a good song. That sounds pretty cool. What's the last track called? Was just like a dog in a train or whatever? Is that just called Pet Sounds?
No.
What is that?
There's no title track on Pet Sounds. Lee, how often do you listen to this?
Not very much, man. That's the one I don't listen to.
You know my favorite closing track?
What is it? What's the title of that one? You know what I'm talking about?
I'm lapsing now too.
But you know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Anyways, go on.
I always like the little 1 minute number, the whistle in. Remember the day, remember the night, all day long. Whistling.
What were we talking? What was that short track we were talking about last night? Meant for you on Friends, Beach Boys Friends. Remember you were like, have you listened to Friends? And I was like, yeah, I only like Meant for You. Opening track. It's like 20 seconds long.
I've only listened to that one once.
It's not that good. It's weird.
No?
It's like the song Friends is great, whatever, and there are a couple good ones, but there's a song at the beginning called Meant for You, I think.
Oh, because you said Holland's your favorite, though.
Holland rules, man. For Beach Boys enthusiasts listening, I have complete faith that you are. I like Holland a lot. I like Holland. Trader is a good song on there.
I like the EP at the end, and it really gives you that Harry Nilsson. Wait, which album is that? Why am I lapsing?
You're lapsing because you have an overload.
I do have an overload. No, it's one of my. Oh, The Point.
Oh, I don't know that.
Which is also an animated film.
Is it? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the main reason I draw that comparison is just because there's the spoken word and they interject with music, and it's just it's a little wackier. But it was also like an animated film.
Wilson, that was what Wilson's hand in the album was. They created Holland with more or less kind of without him, and then
What was his mental state during that album?
Yeah,
you know?
not great. I can't
Which
tell
is
you
most
exactly.
of them.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're listening right now, Brian.
Yeah,
Wilson.
Brian. I have good faith that you are. Brian's listened to every episode. I have good faith in that.
Like Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's okay.
Oh, she's heard every
Well, she was
episode.
found. She was found in Chicago.
Oh God, man. She's been on a weird spiral since like 2009.
Apparently, my friend Danny Simpson in Chicago, he works real close to where she went on a bike ride. I told her he should track her down and like go bike riding with her.
Dude, that wouldn't surprise me if someone just
I would
ran
do
into
that.
her.
I would go get lost on a bike ride with Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah, I'd go hang.
You know, given the opportunity.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hello. How are you? Good. How you doing?
Hey.
Yeah, Brian. I know this much about Holland. Recorded in the '70s, kind of away from Brian. I believe recorded it mostly in Holland. So they wrote that
Was that
California.
late 70s or was that
Early,
77?
mid, because '77 is Love You.
Okay.
And that's later when Brian completely comes back on takes complete control and like basically does almost a solo album with them just doing harmonies. But like Holland, they were in Holland, they missed California, so they wrote that California Saga, and California Saga Big Sur is one of my favorite tracks on Holland. But
I
then,
remember you saying
then
that.
Brian, right before the release, fast-tracked that weird ending. And he was just like, put it on, there's, versions where it's released where it's on the end of it and stuff. And so it was like all of a sudden he sprung out of bed and was like, I want to do stuff too, and fast-tracked all these weird moments at the end with the radio. What are the titles of those? I don't remember, but the ones you're talking about, the Piper and the radio and the Pixies and the fairy tale tracks at the end. But yeah, the Beach Boys Love You. That's a different story.
To end the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Mike Love?
I don't like him, man. I don't like him.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot
we
of
don't
people
like
don't
him.
Yeah.
We don't like him.
Yeah.
No one likes him.
I don't love him. No. But I like him. No, but man. He just always kept them from going in new directions, and that hurt them. Like, they probably wouldn't have had so many weird, like, stunted moments, like Endless Summer or whatever.
Wasn't he the primary issue with Smile even?
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, well, not to
and the
mention
record company
Brian
or whatever
Wilson's,
else,
like,
and he just
mental
fell
state,
apart, yeah. But I mean, yeah, he always famously said, "Don't mess with the formula," and that was wrong because they put out a lot of albums that no one notes now because of Mike. Like early on. Like I know those are the ones that certain songs appear on Beach Boys Best of all the time, but the people that really care about them, like the Pet Sounds and a little bit after stuff. That's where their sweet spot was. Famously on that Endless Summer or Endless Harmony documentary, they say
the ones that are more psychedelic.
Slightly. They always say that was Pet Sounds was the spot where it wasn't too weird and it wasn't too normal, and that's why everyone liked it. That makes sense. But I tend to care about Sunflower, Surf's Up. And
do you like the Zombies and Os Mutantes? Have you listened to them?
No.
Well, you know the Zombies.
Yeah, I know the one or two tracks.
Like Time of the Season at least, and She's Not There.
But are you deep into them or something? Like
I like
full
the
albums?
Zombies.
Are they good?
I mean,
full album.
the main one to listen to is Odyssey and Oracle. That one's essential.
Okay, and then who's the other person you named?
Os Mutantes.
What's that?
They're a Brazilian band along the same lines.
Same time
well,
period?
you might at least know the Bat Macumba, hey, Bat Macumba, oh ha.
Maybe, I don't know.
It kind of like constructs and deconstructs within the context of this pop song.
Did it still come out in the 60s?
Yeah.
Did it? Okay. Yeah, I must know. Maybe, I'm not sure. That's cool. So those are the ones you've heard like more full albums
and I've seen both. I saw the Zombies in Cleveland at Beachland Ballroom.
Okay.
And I've also seen Os Mutantes, and actually Os Mutantes are one of the better bands I've ever seen.
That's cool, man.
But I saw them in Bowling Green with Ariel Pink.
Whoa. What a weird one. Because Ariel Pink is about 10 years old as a band, right? They're a little bit, probably older than that now.
At this point, a little bit older.
But young compared to them.
Yeah. Well, obviously young compared to like a bunch of old Brazilian guys, but...
What a weird show to be at. See that? Okay, we're digging into some shows you've been to. To get off music for just a moment to I know, I'm sorry. Like to get into the end of this.
What else is there, Lee?
Well, there's the only other thing we kind of touched on is as an Ohioan, someone who's like pretty cultured in music and you appreciate art and stuff like that, what are your thoughts on being here? Do you feel like you're cursed being here, or do you like it?
I think I've cursed myself more so.
How's that?
Stunted my own growth, the old arrested development thing.
Why is that?
I mean, because the same thing. I mean, I haven't branched out.
Oh, just so you mean
even in context
location-wise?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even in context of, I could at least be in Cleveland.
I see.
You know, like a real town.
Fair enough.
But even though, like, Columbiana in particular is really growing into a nice town anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have places like this Generations Coffee, and even they have that vintage place nearby, Dean, and
Columbiana Antique Gallery. Yep. And I drove in here with our mutual friend Mindy, and she was like, we were like looking at Columbiana, and she was like, oh, it's such a. We were talking about, like, she was like, aren't you glad you moved out of Columbiana? I was like, yeah, but check this out though. This place is getting even wilder, and even cooler.
Even wilder.
Not wilder.
Well, they have a brewery now, and
there's a.
I mean, antique shops have always been dominant in Columbiana. I mean, it's always.
They have, but it's kind of taken a new turn because people around here in my ages are like
it's a younger,
taking them. Yeah. Like you go in there, no joke. I saw like suit jackets from like Express hanging up in the Columbiana Antique Gallery. I was like, what is?
How prestige?
Yeah, it's not. That's not saying that that's why they're good, but that's a sign of the age group that's in there, because that wouldn't be what a 70, 60-year-old woman would put up on their hangers at all.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But yeah, her and I were both like pleasantly surprised when we kind of took a step back and looked at Columbiana. We were like, coffee, food at All Good Things.
All Good Things is a nice place. I've been there before too.
We were like, this is like a little tiny slice of Massachusetts or something. It's some little.
Have you been to Massachusetts, Lee?
Yes. Yeah, Boston. And Newburyport.
Did you actually go to the Cheers bar?
No.
How dare you?
I know. I was at an age when I went there
what
that
were you
I wasn't
doing?
quite
you
getting
weren't
nostalgic.
quite into Cheers.
Yeah, no, I was in a transition. Like I feel like I hit an age where I wanted to go back, like you recently did, and that was like when I was. Like
isn't that like the primary thing to see in Boston?
It is, but I didn't think Cheers was. It was like I loved it when I was a kid, forgot about it till like a couple years ago, and then
See, I never watched as a kid. That was one thing. Like I watched Frasier once in a while, but I mean any of those, even Seinfeld. Like until more recently, I didn't actually go through and watch through the seasons. Like I wasn't one of those people that had the DVDs. So.
It's weird. I was a kid who grew up without television in my younger years, but then in my teenage years, I got it, and I think I went wild because I watched Seinfeld.
You speak about TV like it was like the internet for us.
I know. It was.
Then it came around in the late 90s, and this television thing just blew up.
For me, my family, that's what it was, because it was the internet for us, because I got on the phone with my friend Craig, and while the Seinfeld last episode was airing, and we were talking to each other about it. So it was like the internet.
I was more familiar with the finale than I was.
Of course you were. I mean, our ages make that kind of more obvious. But it was interesting because I rode my bike down to. I was like, we should watch this together. And I rode my bike to his house, and when I got there, he was like, dude, you missed the wildest thing. He's like, they were on an airplane, and Elaine and Seinfeld almost said they loved each other, and they almost crashed. And I was like, I missed it.
Well, as a kid, that was always the part that stuck with me the most. I love United Airlines.
Yeah. And
that's what I was saying.
But weirdly, because of the lack of a big internet presence at that time, I just missed that part and didn't get to see it till years later. I just had to imagine it in my head. And it felt like he was making it up. He was like, they were on this plane and all this stuff happened. I was like, are you sure you're talking about Seinfeld? You know what I mean?
Well, that was also one of those shows that I wasn't supposed to watch as a kid because it just dealt with sex topics so much. So my dad watched one episode and he was like, yeah, I did. No more Seinfeld for you.
Well, that's probably responsible.
It was a weird hit and miss though on what I could and couldn't do.
Sure. But so you said you feel like you haven't physically branched out. You should at least be in like Ohio City, a bigger
How
city.
dare you harp on this?
Yeah, but
you're like, so you say that you're a failure.
Yeah,
tell us more about your failure.
No, but tell me the good side of it then. You told me the bad side. What's the good side about Columbiana County for you? What do you like aside from these stores we talked about? Like, what do you get out of this small town area?
Nothing. I mean, it's certainly not convenience. I mean, so,
No, that's true.
there's no public transportation. I mean,
You ride bike? That's fun.
I do ride a bike. I am right near a bike trail.
Do you like? Greenway Trail's a nice attribute.
Greenway
to
Trail
this
is
area.
beautiful.
Yeah. There's that at least. But I suppose you could ride bike wherever you were, so maybe that's not a super advantage. Yeah, again, you're really forcing me to look at all the negative sides of things today, man. But anyways, do you have any advice for our long-time and faithful listeners before we sign off, Michael? General life advice, music advice, shows they should attend coming up?
What is coming up? Well, I don't even know.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. There's not as much in May as there is in the summer. One thing I wanted to talk about too, real quick, was just to go back to the Ohio scene and everything too. What are some of your favorite local bands then?
Oh yeah, local.
I mean, I know some of mine. Well, I used to really love Posture Coach.
Yes.
And then Chris was in Kratt. And that was one of my favorite.
Kratt, Kratt. I liked Kratt. I saw.
Well, they only had the one. Yeah, they only had the one show.
They had another one in Indianapolis or something.
They had one in Bloomington.
Yeah, that's what it was. You're right. But
that was just a house show. And from what Matt Latanzi told me, he said it was. He said it was a great show and it went over well, but they weren't really happy with how Susie's went, but everyone there enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I went up to listeners who know us well. We're talking about Matt, who has passed away, and we really miss him. And he was like a pretty notable beacon in the Youngstown music scene. And him and our friend Chris had this band, Kratt, Kratt, did awesome weird sex raps and weird moments and stuff. And they played the show at Susie's where Matt was like, all right, everybody, I'm gonna need everyone's hands in the house here to help, get me off, and he made all these crazy.
Yeah,
it was amazing. I loved it.
It was crass and it was fun and it was
sloppy and weird and messy and that's what I wanted. That's what I came there expecting, and I think they were, of course, perfectionists, as you should be when you're the one playing the music. But for me, I was like, oh, I wish you guys would have messed up more. It would have been, it was all about just being goofy and messing around.
It's not about the notes you hit.
Barely, for that band, it barely is. It's about the notes you don't hit. But yeah, that's cool.
I'm gonna have to talk to Chris too, because they're gonna do a tribute show.
That's
I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yeah.
And Kratt's supposed to play.
Oh my God.
So I don't know who she's gonna play with. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe pull in the.
She says they have more songs. They have a Bandcamp. If you look up, Kratt, you can find their Bandcamp. They only have 4 songs on there right now, but according to Chris, they have other ones. What I used to really love, she was the bassist for them, for Posture Coach.
Posture Coach, yeah. We've played them on the podcast. And we'll play Kratt on this one. But yeah, Kratt, of course. Yeah, in recent history. Human Petting Zoo, I'm a fan of.
I don't think I've actually seen them.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen it live either. Sam Goodwill, I'm a fan of.
Oh, obviously, Sam Goodwill.
That kind of stuff. The band that's not really, they're pretty much defunct from Toledo, Faux Pas, and enjoy them. I definitely enjoyed a band called Up, Up, and Away that was short-lived, that was in Akron. They were a favorite. I did like Nicholas McGallis when I saw him live once. He did stuff sound like the White Stripes. And I know his thing is more comedy video these days, and he does weird stuff on Vine and stuff.
I just missed Village Bicycle. They were at Cedars again.
Village Bicycle, that's right. With SexyPigDivas. Oh yeah, SexyPigDivas I like a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only seen them a couple times.
Yeah.
I know that they've played with you a lot.
Quite a bit. They're a good fit for whatever reason. And then Village Bicycle, I liked them a lot.
They were a lot of fun, I thought.
Yeah, Coal-Fired Bicycle.
They're from Cleveland, correct?
Cleveland, yeah. And they're doing well in Cleveland.
There's a lot of good bands in Cleveland. I've been meaning, I'd like to see These Knees again.
Okay.
These Knees.
Yeah. And Coal-Fired Bicycle from Columbus, I like them a lot.
I also want to see Uno Lady again. Have you ever caught her?
No. Where's she from?
She's Cleveland.
Cleveland? Okay.
And she does a lot of looping and atmospheric kind of sounds, and it's she'll harmonize with herself.
Oh,
so it kind of has a, almost like a Juliana Barwick If you've ever listened to her, you know.
That's pretty cool, man.
It kind of has that sort of feel.
Right. We mentioned Serial Banner, stuff like along those lines I tend to like. I'm drawing a blank, but I know way back I kind of was a fan of the original tunes of a band called Mystic Whip Hustler. It was a long time ago.
I like how we teased people like, yeah, we're going to stop soon. And anyone's still listening, like, God damn it, when is this going to end?
They're like, why am I still listening? But
there's nothing for me here.
Yeah. And then I pick and choose tracks from the Deadbeat Poets. Pick and choose.
Okay.
Pick and choose.
So that means you kind of hate them.
Some of their stuff's too classic rock for me, but most of their stuff that's like just pop and it's straight rock, I really enjoy. And I'm partial to the ones that Pete sings on and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Third Class got like exponentially better when
Pete had
stopped.
a hand.
Well, I was even going to say when it stopped being as experimental, because really, like, you excel in pop.
Yeah, that's
like as
where
hard as pop can be to write, and as easier as it is to be experimental, like, and I think that's a natural trajectory for a lot of bands, is that you know, they start out more experimental and gradually get pop, and some people rebel against that, but really it's the natural order of things, and as you get better at writing, that's what you do. You hone your songs down, and you
strip away, and I think that's what a lot
generally
of fans want.
speaking, anyway. Unless a band starts that way and wants to
the other way, which happens
sounds,
a lot too. Yeah, but listeners, we're referring to Amprion Recorder and Pete Trevere, just as far as sound engineering goes in Youngstown, and I think that that's what's nice about starting weird, is that like maybe all along you're trying to write this pop song, you can't get it right, and then you start stripping away and it starts to become easier, you know.
What thing that you've recorded are you most proud of, or did you think came
like
together the best?
Something,
yeah,
or an album,
or a song, or even an album. Like, which album do you think you were happy, the happiest?
I'm happiest with the recent 2014 Hymns from Some Small Town, but track wise I'm happiest with a song called I Love This that's on Close Epitaph Clo 2006.
And like I said, I know Chris that I mentioned,
that's right.
Chris Mills.
Yeah.
She was thrilled that you played that at Beachland Tavern. And
obviously,
the Tavern is a terrific place for shows.
Loved it.
I loved it. I love the ballroom too, but most people like the intimacy of the Tavern.
That was almost my favorite Sam Goodwill show, watching them a few years back at the Tavern. I watched them, and then my favorite.
I would have loved to have seen them in the Tavern. I don't think I made it to
it was
that
just
show.
it was Dennis and Dennis from Posture Coach and Sam at the time, and then I saw Sam solo sharing the bill with me at George's in Canton, and that was my favorite Sam Goodwill show. So I think I'm like you, where when stuff gets stripped away, I appreciate more. Yeah. It's interesting.
I know a lot of better shows I've seen have been in the Tavern. Like I saw Y Oak with Shearwater. Sharon Von Etten was there. That was great. I mean, and a lot of these are before. Obviously, these bands are bigger at this point.
That's right.
So they're not really Tavern
right time
shows
to see
anymore.
The right time to see a band is when they're winding up or winding down, huh?
Yeah, because I mean, I've also seen, and that was also with Matt. I've seen a lot of shows with Matt.
That's right.
I saw Sharon Von Etten in Ballroom then
later
recently.
That's cool, man. Yeah. Yeah, I think that watching bands, I know the bands I've seen that have gotten smaller, like Motion City Soundtrack or the President's United States, they are now back at Grog Shop, and that's the place to see those kind of bands. You know what I mean? Because you just go right up to them.
Motion City Soundtrack are still around?
They're about to be gone. Yeah, they're on their
about
farewell.
to be gone. They're on their way out.
Yeah, they're
on their farewell tour.
They are. They really are. Right now, it's called Farewell. But
you've always lauded, I mean, obviously this is a big band, but you've always lauded President's shows.
Oh God, I mean, there's something about them. I think early on we had.
Because I know you like one of your favorite albums is what, Kudos to You?
Yeah, I love Kudos to You. Truck Stop on the Moon. That track.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
Truck Stop.
And we might not see another album from them in recent interviews.
You don't think?
Though their frontman Chris Ballou writes them off a little. He loves it, but he's on his Casper Baby Pants kick. That's his kids' music. That's what he does now.
Kids' music?
It's like for adults though. It's not
like Smelly Cat.
It's something. Right. It's like like that kind of thing. I went and saw him in Bellevue, Washington, do a show at a donut place, and it's weird because there's no middleman anymore, and he just brings his amp.
I'm watching the meter.
He just brings his amp and plays. So yeah, it's all good. It's like you can tell all the kids' parents are like, play mom, yeah, but they love it. Yeah.
Should we add a little special nugget for people that endured this long or skipped ahead?
Yeah. What is that nugget?
I don't have a nugget. I don't have a nugget in mind.
That was the nugget. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening to us just babble about whatever we felt like. Music, Ohio.
Music, art, trees. In buildings.
Riding bikes. So, can you say our tag outline? Look, Mom, we're on a podcast.
Is that really it? You couldn't come up with anything better? What is this infantile? Like, this is the Nursery podcast. This is to put your babies to sleep. Let them listen to people talk.
That's right, you got it.
You're going to have to repeat that to me. I already forget it.
Look, Mom, we're on a podcast.
Look, Mom, we're on a podcast.
All right. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for being a guest. Listeners, thanks for enduring, especially to the point of the nugget, which was just us talking about a nugget. We appreciate it. And make sure, again, if anyone is listening who's like, who the hell are these guys? What's going on? Go to thirdclass.net, bullskit.com, click on the podcast tab, and get lost. All right, guys, have a good day.